Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing a video on another Strike Industries product that I own that's attached to this 300 blackout upper, and that is the King Comp. Again, this is their 30 caliber style. They also have a 5.56 one if you're just shooting standard 5.56 out of a regular AR-15. But given that this is a 300 blackout, you do need a 30 caliber muzzle device, or you're gonna run into some issues, although you probably won't even be able to thread it on. Which reminds me, it takes the same exact thread pattern that is used on 308. So if you decide in the future to transfer one of these to a 308, or if you're just looking for one for 308 in general, the same one for 300 blackout will work for 308. So instead of wasting your time going over all the individual specs for this thing, I'm just going to go ahead and list them on the side of the screen right now, just so it's listed there. If you feel like pausing to take a look, feel free, but I'm not going to take too much time going into those. I will just say right out the gate though, it's certainly not the shortest muzzle device. You know, it's definitely got some length there. So take into consideration, if you're looking to put this on an SBR and you want the absolute shortest overall package, this probably isn't the brake for you. However, if you look at really any brake across the board, the Lantac Dragon, any of those, they're all going to be about the same length, and you kind of need that in order to get the effectiveness of that brake. Yes, there are exceptions out there, but generally speaking, it's not uncommon to find one this long in the world of muzzle brake. As you can see, obviously it's daytime right now. I'm not going to be able to shoot this at night. However, I can do it right up until sunset. So I'm going to be coming back out here right before sunset to do some shooting, just to see how bright this thing is. In my experience, during the daytime, I see really no flashes at all, in comparison to some other breaks where I've done that during the day. So I have a feeling this might actually perform pretty well at night, but we'll definitely put that to the test. And we'll cut that in about halfway through here, before kind of wrapping things up with another test that I have as far as the controllability and basically efficacy of this as an actual muzzle brake. So I changed my mind, and I'm just going to show you a lot of this stuff up close here. If you take a look here at the muzzle end of this brake, you can see, and this is kind of a common thread through some of Strike Industries muzzle devices. They seem to be going for almost like a chest theme. This obviously being the King Comp, and they have some other ones with more chest themed names. And I kind of definitely get that feeling from looking at this thing head on. You can see all these little spikes sticking out here out the front. I would imagine that this does a little bit as far as flash suppression, since a lot of flash suppressors do have that kind of style going on there at the front. However, what this also will allow you to do is have a pretty intense impact device. If you're in close quarters doing room clearing or anything like that, not that 99% of us are ever going to be in a situation like that, but if you ever do find yourself in that and you need to create some standoff, or you need to use less lethal force, putting this into someone's dome piece is definitely going to leave a mark, and they're definitely going to think twice about whatever they were doing. So it's definitely pretty mean looking. Overall, I just think it looks pretty awesome. You can see obviously the two large chambers here on the side, and you can see daylight all the way through those. Then we also have these chambers up here on the top, which is going to help again with compensation and keeping this thing super flat shooting. Now obviously I have this attached to an SBR. You know, my Spikes Tactical SBR lower, along with the rest of the build up here, which if you haven't seen the series for the build, I'll put a link to the playlist below so you can watch that and you can see everything that I chose and kind of why I chose it. But shooting it on this SBR, it has been amazingly level shooting. I really didn't know what to expect with 300 blackout, because this is the first time I've really shot a heavy volume of 300 blackout, and I've probably already got close to 400 to 500 rounds through this SBR with this muzzle device on it, and I can say that I'm very, very pleased with the performance of this thing. Keeps it very flat, very soft shooting. If you've seen any of my other videos with actually test firing this thing, you can see just how flat shooting it is, and we'll show you some more of that here in a second. But even yesterday, I was shooting this in a pistol configuration with a pistol lower, so obviously I couldn't have it into my shoulder, so I was just shooting with a cheek weld, and you'll see in that footage it's still very, very flat shooting. So I was really impressed with that. I can also say that it's definitely not while it's not pleasant to be next to it, just like any other muzzle brake as far as the side blast, it's nowhere near as bad as another brake I'm going to be testing today, the Manticore Night Brake for my M92 PAP pistol. However, you know, they're definitely not looking to make that one comfortable, but this one's definitely a lot better. Again, it's not going to be great if you're shooting in close proximity to other people, but if you're just taking it through a class or just shooting it recreational like most people are going to, then you're going to see no issues there whatsoever. All right, so I want to try to quantify the muzzle brake or compensating ability of this muzzle device, the King Comp from Strike Industries. So what I have here is a little mini silhouette target. As you can see, it's maybe half size at the most silhouette target. And what I'm going to be doing is I have it about 10 yards away from where I'm going to be shooting. And I'm basically going to be setting up a shot timer to give me 3 seconds, and I'm going to see how many shots I can get into the red in those 3 seconds. What this is going to do is it's going to show basically my ability to get back on target quickly. If I decide that 3 seconds isn't a good number, we may adjust that. However, that's what I'm going to be shooting for right now. So again, at 10 yards, I'm going to see how many rounds I can get into this small little section here, which just for reference, and I'll measure it when I get back, so I'll give you the exact specs, but it looks like about 3 inches high by 2 inches wide. So that should give us a pretty good indicator of the ability to get back on target quickly and effectively using this muzzle device. All right, so I have a camera set up downrange. Again, our target is at 10 yards. Just gonna be using a cheap shot timer on my phone just so I can get the par time. Again, we're looking to see how many shots I can get in that little red circle within 3 seconds. So I'm going to be starting out with my sights on target just again to get as many rounds as possible on target within those 3 seconds. So we'll see how this thing does and then we'll break it down after that. All right, so I realized I couldn't hear the beep for the shot timer. So I'm just going to try that again. I'll use the timer on the camera just to clock 3 seconds. And just to do it again, I'm going to aim at the head this time. So a little bit of a bigger target, but we'll see how that does. So I don't know about keeping it exactly on target, but let's go pull that target down and we'll talk about the results. I think maybe my my pride was a little bit better than my abilities here in this scenario. All right, so just looking at how this thing did, I think some of them got a little wild. I think I was a little too fast on the trigger, which just FYI, I'm using a Geisley SSA-E trigger, so the trigger is definitely not a limiting factor as far as the speed of me being able to shoot. And you'll be able to see in the shot from the other camera exactly how this thing did, but there's definitely some pretty definitive groups. Now there's definitely flyers off again for me probably not getting it quite back on target. But considering this is at 10 yards and, you know, this right here, I have, you know, 4 shots all within probably less than an inch. That's definitely something I'm happy with. And again, you know, you'll be able to see in the footage from today and other days, I just really think that this thing does a great job of keeping that muzzle level. So I think a lot of this is more me as a shooter as opposed to that thing as a muzzle device. But you guys can take that into account for yourself, decide, you know, whether or not that's acceptable for you. But I can say I'm happy, and again, we'll break it down looking at the other footage as well, just so you can see exactly how this played out. But there's definitely some pretty definitive groups. This was obviously probably tighter because it's a little bit better of a point of aim, whereas the head's a little bit more nebulous. But enough making excuses. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. All right, so I'm back out here. It's a little bit darker. Hopefully you can tell the camera. Unfortunately, I ran out of the 150 grain Fiocchi stuff I was shooting, so now I'm back to 220 grain Remington stuff, which probably won't cycle very well, so I'll probably have to rack the charging handle each time. But really my goal right now is to show you what kind of flash we get off of this muzzle device. It's right before sunset, so this is the best we're gonna get because I can't shoot out here at night. So I'll stop yapping and let's get this started. Yeah, doesn't even have enough to lock the bolt on an empty mag. So I didn't see much flash as a shooter. Obviously, what you saw on camera will probably be a little bit more accurate to what kind of flash there is, but I didn't see much, so I think it's pretty good to go. All right, so the King Comp from Strike Industries. You know, as you could see, I was pretty happy with the performance it had. And as you saw from all the shooting that I've done with this thing, it does an excellent job of keeping that muzzle really flat. Is it the quietest muzzle device? No. Is it the shortest muzzle device? No. However, when you consider what you're paying into it, especially when you compare it to things like the Lantac Dragon, which is an excellent brake, however, it's extremely expensive. So when you take into account the cost, I really think that this is a good option for anyone looking for a good brake / comp for their fighting gun, or even a competition gun. It's excellent for that as well. Really, really budget friendly. They're not overly expensive. I'll have, you know, a link to where you can find one of these in the description below, as well as a lot of the other parts here. Strike Industries is making some really great stuff. Is all of it a winner? No. As I just recently did a review of the Strike Switch from them, I was not a huge fan of that. But when you're dealing with a company like Strike Industries, who is really at that the tip of the spear as far as innovation goes, while they're going to be doing some really cool stuff, there's also going to be stuff that doesn't quite work out as well as we would all hope. So all things considered, I think this is excellent. I think really with just many things from Strike Industries, not everything, like I just said, but it's a really safe bet on just about anything from Strike Industries. They're doing some really cool stuff. They have some other stuff coming out here that should be out around SHOT Show next year. Hopefully when I'm at SHOT Show, I'll be able to talk to them and see some of those new products coming out. But also keep in mind, I'm going to be reviewing still a lot of the other Strike Industries products, the charging handle up here, as well as their forward assist and the dust cover right here. Again, I'm super happy with their stuff, and I'm sure that you will be as well. So, as always, I hope you're able to get something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching.